You're listening to the Savoir Faire Audio Experience.
Are you ready?
The Savoir Faire Experience is your guide to everything that has to do with lifestyle. From dating, rides, style, and entertainment. All brought to you by the editor of Savoir Faire magazine, Robert White. Anything goes on this audio experience. So, let's go.
It's still the best.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Savoir Faire Audio Experience. Thank you guys for following, sharing, and listening. Really appreciate all of the love we're getting from our community. Today is another great interview coming to you, which is super exciting for me because I love just talking to really creative music people, and today is definitely one of those. So Ryan Hamilton is here today. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing good, thank you. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate finding some time to connect and talk to me about music. I'm super excited about some of this stuff that you have going on, and I was able to listen to your newest song coming out that we'll talk about here shortly. Very creative, very cool sound, and so I'm really kind of want to dive into all that stuff and just learn more about you. One of the things that we like to do when we talk to musical artists, or that I like to do when I talk to musical artists, is kind of go back a little bit and just learn about where this all started. So if you could, take me down memory lane and tell me when music became a part of your world.
Sure, yeah. So when I was a kid, my dad, when I was really young, he just thought it was fun. I think I really loved music. He could tell that I loved music. So we started playing this game when I was a kid, and he would say, "Do you know who this is? You know, what song is this?" When I got a little older, what year did it come out? And that was all classic rock. That was his music. That was Zeppelin and Beatles and, you know, even like Southern rock, Leonard Skinner, Marshall Tucker Band, all of that. So that game with my dad and bonding at a really young age, doing all of that, is really what solidified my love for music. And it continues later in life. Even now, you know, we listen to classic rock radio, and it's who can guess first, like who gets it first. And sometimes it's a few notes or a few bars into a song, and it's just kind of created this bond not only between me and music, but with me and my dad. And that's really where it started. And I didn't start playing music till much later in life. I was in my 20s before I even learned how to play guitar or wrote a song.
Okay. So it was just name that tune for the longest part of your life, but you're still getting educated
right.
by dad, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. No, I dig that. That's super cool introduction. You know, I also music myself too on the side, which is why I think I use my platform for artists so often. But I also started kind of late into music too. I didn't start till my late teens, right? So prior to that, it was just I kind of had a revelation that happened when I went to Nashville and just saw the behind the scenes of the music and was so shocked that I was like, oh, there's a place for me here because I can do some of this stuff. And then just started kind of, creating myself too. So I love the creative process of that, but it's super cool to know that your dad was kind of the inspiring part of the story, I guess, by just educating you on just good music at that point.
Yeah, he could just tell that I loved it at a really young age. And, you know, I love that he gave me that opportunity to, you know, embrace it, learn more about it, turn it into something even more fun. And I'm very thankful that he was that way.
Yeah, very cool. No, I like that too, honestly. I think, and I'm assuming, because you have a child, we mentioned that earlier. Are you going to do the same thing when your kid gets old enough to understand what's going on?
Yeah, so she's not even 2. She's almost 2. I'm already like putting on Nirvana and things from my teenage years.
Perfect. Yeah.
I just like to see what her reaction is, and trying to, not brainwash her. That's not the level, but influence her a little bit with some alternative rock, hoping she'll lean that direction.
Yeah, that's understandable. Well, it's good to teach them like what real artists are before they get too old and start getting into some of the pop music that's out in the world now. So good for you on that one. The other thing that's always creative that I love about musical artists is that I feel like musical artists see the world from a different perspective, right? You're kind of hanging on words and conversations. You're watching a movie and a line might hit you that's just a little bit unique, or maybe the music that we kind of appreciate, the melodies and the beats, or even a lyric that kind of got brought into a hook correctly. We kind of all just see the world differently when you're a musical artist. And so I'm curious about your perspective on the world. How do you kind of go through this, like, I guess just day to day where you're just kind of grabbing ideas and plucking stuff from life? Like what kind of things do inspire you and kind of get you in that creative aspect?
Well, I think that the 90s were the last great era of music. It's when albums stopped. Now it's all about singles and what's hooky and popular and what will sell the most, as a single, what will make somebody famous on TikTok. I really can't stand all of that. I think that the artistry gets lost in that. And I think that, pre-cancel culture in the 90s, when people still had the opportunity to have the courage or the balls or whatever word you want to use to say something controversial or have an opinion without the fear of getting canceled or whatever that is. I think about bands like Everclear and a song like Heroin Girl, and that was a radio single. And I can't imagine an artist now releasing a song called Heroin Girl and somebody not getting all upset because, it's not socially whatever. Right. And I still listen to that music. When I listen to the radio, I try and find an alternative station, whether it's Sirius XM or Real Radio, whatever that is. And honestly, I find that inspiring because it kind of scratches that itch from when I first started, really going to concerts as a teenager and then started writing songs. And there was something edgy and rock and roll that still existed in the 90s. And that's what inspires me now. But there's still some good music, of course. Now there are a handful of artists trying to do something like that. I think of the 1975 or Youngblood or, those types of people. And it's still out there a little bit, but not like it was. But the stuff that really inspires me is the stuff from my teenage years, which would be, 90s alternative.
Yeah, I think, I can definitely appreciate your perspective on that too, because 90s, early 2000s music was my world too. So obviously a lot of the 90s bands I grew up in that era, that was my teenage years as well. So a lot of that stuff is a big part of my life. It was graduating, going through first relationships, like all of those things kind of attached to memory for me. So there's a lot of really just great bands from the 90s that I also kind of fell into. And then like when I was in Nashville, it was kind of an aspiring part of writing for me and kind of understanding all those things. So I love the idea that you kind of live in the 90s generation and that was a big part of you because it was for me too. One of the big things for me, like obviously being in Nashville and being exposed to the behind the scenes part of music industry was the writing capability. And you're an excellent writer, man. I have listened to a lot of your music in the last couple of days since I knew we were going to connect. So take me down the writing process for you. I'm really curious about how that begins. Does it start with kind of sitting with the guitar and strumming a melody, or are you putting lyrics on paper first? Like, how does your creative process work, or are you a little bit of both?
No, it's always one line and a melody for me, and it's 99% of the time when I'm driving or like in the shower, and there's that almost meditation level of not really paying attention, and it'll just kind of appear. It's always one line that will end up in the song or even the title of the song accompanied by a melody, and then I have to grab the guitar and find it. And that's how it's been forever. I don't know how it happened, but thank God for iPhones and technology now, because there was a time when I first started writing songs when we didn't have the technology we have now, where, you couldn't grab your phone and just do an audio note with your voice going, it's this. There was a little more involved in like, oh God, I got to remember that. And I can't get back to my studio or get back to wherever it is, my bedroom, whatever that was, until later in the day. And you just hope that you remembered it. And you got back, you weren't even sure if you were remembering it the right way. So I love the immediacy now of having that moment. And they're fleeting. They come in waves. Sometimes it'll be months. I went, almost 3 years and didn't write a song.
Wow.
And this song that just came out is the first song I've written in almost 3 years. So a little bit of writer's block, just a lot of life, I think, happened and kept me from going to whatever that place is with the songs up here.
Yeah. No, I can understand that part too, because back in the day, I was carrying a pen and a paper around all the time. All
right,
the
yeah.
time. I would be in a restaurant and I'd hear someone like, I'd eavesdrop on a conversation and I'd have to grab a napkin and write a line down real quick. And then as soon as I was alone, I would hum something to it, which is cool that we have new technology, because now that humming that I would do would kind of be that mental like check mark next to the thing. And then when I would get home to my guitar, I would try to play what I hummed and then say the lyric, and then it would just go off from there. So that, I mean, that's kind of unique that we do have technology now where we can be like, instantly I can say the lyric, I can hum it the way I think it should sound, and then when I get home, I can process that. So, I mean, in that little piece of the technological world of the changes of music, that's a cool thing. The rest of it, I'm still kind of getting grasps on all that stuff. So, well, that's cool that you have we have an interesting kind of writing process. I dig that a lot. I want to talk to you a little bit about your new single now, because this new single you just released after just telling me you had 2 years of writer's block just makes it even more unique. It's called Godspeed. Talk to me a little bit about this song and where the inspiration came from, and then just the process of getting the idea down to the finished product.
Yeah, so I'm very lucky. My mentor and the head of the record label I'm on is Little Steven Van Zandt, and I had a really bad experience in the music business a few years ago, and I just decided to leave. I was kind of over it. I was over, 3 years ago on Spotify after millions of streams. I think I made $300 that year, and I was just over it for a long list of reasons that I should say for another conversation. Mm-hmm. But Stevie was just on my case. You need to get back to music. You have such a talent. It's just sitting there not doing anything. We miss you, come back. And he just stayed on me, and Godspeed appeared one day, like I was telling you before. It just kind of popped into my mind, and I grabbed my phone. I was at home when it happened. I grabbed the guitar, found it super fast, and I sent it straight to Stevie. And I said, I think this is good. I wrote a song, it's been a while. I know you've been on my case. Is this any good? Because I had lost that kind of confidence. I used to be able to know for sure, like, this is a great song, because I had been doing it for 20 something years. And Stevie got back to me immediately, which was amazing because he was on tour in Europe with Bruce. And he said, "This is great. You're back." That's what he told me.
I love that.
So as soon as I saw that from him, it just kind of unlocked whatever that thing was in my brain that was keeping me from doing it. And when I finished the lyrics, it was really interesting because I really only sent him the basic idea with like half a verse and the chorus idea. Mm-hmm. When I really started writing, it became clear that the song was about facing your demons and being able to get to the place where you face those demons is just past where you're comfortable. And there's this kind of thing that everybody has where you don't want to go too fast, you don't want to do too much, but sometimes just past that place where you're uncomfortable is where you can really do some work on yourself. And that's what the song is about. It's about getting to that place, facing those difficult things, and having to push past the place where you're most uncomfortable to get there.
Yeah, that's awesome, actually. I mean, I always been taught, I mean, I hear the word Godspeed all the time, right? Because it's just it's a common thing. You're like, oh, Godspeed, whatever he wants for you is what's going to happen. Like, this is how it's going to go. So I get the synergy with the song title and everything, which is super cool. But I mean, the other piece that I picked up on here, and I like about this story with you too, is like, when you started writing this song and you send it over to Stevie, it's like, kind of having a legend in your back pocket. Like there's some being able to give someone that strong in the music industry a piece of your work and have them be like, yo, you're back. Like that's just like a confidence boost for days. I don't care what kind of writer's block you have. When someone like that tells you that you're back, you're just like, you're right, I am. Just the motivation just pumps you right up. I mean, I have people like that in my back pocket too, which is great. Really great musical artists that I look up to for all of the 90s and early 2000s that I really, really respected and never got close to. And now in life, we're able to reach out to them a little bit more. I've got one person, if I send him a song and he says it's a hit, it's a hit. Like I know it's a hit. So, and I love stuff like that. So it's super cool that you have this kind of synergy and these people that kind of give you that, that like little boost of confidence, just be like, yeah, I got this. I'm golden. So I feel like you're going to be pumping out songs like crazy, probably. It
opened the floodgates for sure. It did.
Yeah, that's super cool, man. Well, Godspeed came out on July 11th, right? And so it's available on all major platforms. I listened to it on YouTube earlier today before we connected and talked about this. But I'm also curious about, obviously, the floodgates of writing is open right now for you, which is great. But what else are you going to be doing in 2025? Is there anything on the schedule? Are you going to perform live anywhere, or what's kind of happening there?
It's interesting. Back in the day, I would have gone really hard the first week and pushed it and tried to do all of the things, get the streams up, sell the most, whatever. I just sat back and let the first week or two kind of happen and just to see how it felt, because I wasn't sure how I was going to feel. And it's been amazing. It's been, kind of slow and steady and small numbers compared to what I was used to before, but it feels like it starts now. I'm a week or two in, doing interviews, talking to people like yourself, which I love doing. And now it feels like I'm ready to go. So it's kind of like I told everybody, okay, now let's really push it. I feel good about it. Let's go. So I don't think I'm going to tour. My daughter's not quite 2. I toured all over the world for a long time. And, I know people are going to be annoyed that I don't want to tour, but I just don't. I am happy to be writing songs and recording music, and maybe there'll be a show here or there, or, I'll go do Stevie's Cruise or something like that. But I just want to focus on writing songs, putting music into the world, enjoying it, and being a dad. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And I think a lot of people can respect that position, honestly. Like, it's a lot of work to put a tour together, to travel, to have the team involved, to get everything kind of organized to be able to do that. And then, when you just have this new baby at home, you just kind of want to enjoy these younger years and just kind of chill. Clearly, you got a great team of people that are behind you and you're motivated. So I think we also can just sit back and relax and let Ryan pump great music into our, playlist on Spotify and just hang out. That's completely okay.
That's really nice.
Yeah, really appreciate you, man. Well, thanks so much, Ryan, for finding some time to chat with me today. I'm glad we were able to connect, talk a little bit about music. I wish you all the success with this newfound stuff you have going on. Godspeed is a great track. People need to go listen to it. And if you're listening to me right now, you can go down to the episode notes and we will link Godspeed so you guys can go straight to where you can find it.
Thank you for listening to the show. Please take a minute to head over to www.savfair.com and subscribe to our publication.